Good evening. I'm Jacqueline Sustaita, President of the Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees. This public hearing is being conducted in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. The time is now 5:37 p.m. and I'll call this meeting to order. I'll now begin the roll call. Trustee Rodriguez, Trustee Cuellar, Trustee Castillo,
Present.
Trustee Trevino, Trustee Nieto,
Present.
Trustee De Los Santos.
Present.
Okay. A quorum is not required for a public board hearing, but we do have a quorum. And now we move on to item number 3, the public hearing on proposed 24-25 tax rate.
Thank you so much. So as we think about the tax rates, by law, we have until September 30th. So we still have 6 more days to approve this, but luckily we always try to do this way before the last of the deadline. As we looked in the monitor this past Wednesday on the 18th, you would have seen in the public notices our notice. And again, this is a public meeting to discuss the proposed tax rate. If you had seen this back in June, it had the tax rate and the budget, because for us, as a school district that has its year end and 6/30, we had to have a budget in place. So the tax rate budget plays hand in hand. One of the things I do want to kind of focus on is the very middle, where it says the maintenance tax, school district service tax that's going to be approved by the local voters. This is the maximum tax rates that we could actually approve without actually going out for a tax rate election. So for our maintenance and operation, again, is 0.72 cents, and our bond debt is 0.219 cents. One other number I'm going to kind of emphasize is where it says the total appraised value and total taxable value. The second column, which is the current tax value. The third item, what is the taxable value within all the properties of Weslaco ISD? $3.5 billion. It had increased $114 million in just 1 year. Where do we get this information? It actually comes from the appraisal district. So back on 7/19 of about 2 months ago, the certified property values for Weslaco ISD. Again, there is many properties that are in our district, raw land, farming land, our commercial business, and all of the homes. They actually break it down for us. And so at the very bottom where it says net taxable, the $3.5 billion, that is what is actually taxed for our school district. So other information that's also part of our public notice, how much money is out in debt? This number grew. If you compared it to last year, it grew $160 million. The new bond that just got passed back in November. And so now it's officially on the books, so we do share that with the public. The middle part does share what was the tax rate last year, what is it this year. So last year, 0.9464. That was the tax rate that you saw on your tax bill. I know when we had talked about the bond, we had shared that the tax rate at the max was going to increase by 1 cent. But if you look at our new one where it says proposed rate, 0.9481, well, that's not 1 penny. It's 0.0017 of a penny. So after all the numbers are crunched at the appraisal district, our tax office there at Hidalgo County helps us out, we're only going to see a 0.0017 of an increase, not the penny that we were anticipating. So how did that happen? Less than a penny, 0.17 of a penny. And so if I'm a typical homeowner here in Weslaco, last year, my property was $168,000. The greatest thing that the people back in November approved was the $100,000 exemption. So you subtract $100,000, you only pay taxes on $68,000. So last year, $650 was the tax bill. Fast forward till today, what is the average home price or market value? It grew a whole $4,000. So now we're saying $172,000 is the average home value here in Weslaco ISD. Again, our 0.0017 of a tax increase, with that new property value, a typical homeowner would see about a $32 increase. So still very low taxes here in Weslaco ISD. Just to kind of give you a little history, tax rates were higher back then. And so now with that $160 million bond, we still only saw that small fraction of an increase. Some of the things that we do share is our fund balance. So another way of thinking of fund balance is the savings of the district. Right now, we have about 79 million. That's kind of like a good estimate. We will be sharing the final number in November. And once we get there, it should be a little bit better. And then our interest and sinking, which is the money set aside for the bond payments, we have about $1.3 million. So that concludes the presentation of the tax. And if there's any questions for the public or for our board, I'm here to help.
I just want to say great presentation, and just at the ending, you said in November we're going to discuss the final number, but you said it should be a little bit better, but just so the public knows, that amount is pretty good too.
That is.
Yes.
And so just to kind of
clarify.
give you some good numbers or rule of thumb,
Right.
we try to have 90 days of fund balance. What does that mean? 1 day to kind of keep the lights on, and I'm really going to throw out a generic number. About $450,000 to $500,000, that's what it costs to run the school district for 1 day. So if we need 90 days, we typically see about $41, $42 million set aside. So the fact that we're closer to 80
Right.
tells us that we are way beyond
Right.
that sufficient savings that we need to try to keep.
Great job.
So yeah, and I know it's going to be further discussed in the superintendent's report. And but in November, we get the final audit, and I think that number is going to be even better.
Thank you.
Mr. Robledo, compared to other school districts, even though we had the $160 million bond, right? Where do we rank? We've always been low, and we continue to be low.
Yes.
So, and there was other school districts, Dr. Rivera, that didn't have a bond or didn't pass a bond, but we're still pretty low, aren't we?
We are.
Among the lowest, and I'll show that in my report.
Oh,
later
okay.
on.
Okay.
You'll see the difference.
So we'll save that question.
Okay.
Don't lose it. It'll be
the
discussed
highlights.
in the
All right.
superintendent.
Good presentation.
Still among the lowest.
We are.
Good.
And so that's the greatest thing that, what helps the school district, yes, we have a very strong property values. The commercial side, that's where they do help pay taxes, and they keep, in a sense, a low tax rate. So I thank you, all the industry partners and all the companies that decide to make a home here in Weslaco, because that does help the taxpayer for the home buyer.
Yeah. Thank you.
I have a quick question. Could you go back to the slide on the public notice?
I had to cut it in 3 pieces.
The
because it's too
other
long.
one where it has the previous year, the rate to maintain?
There we go.
Can we, and we can still move forward today, but can we double check that calculation is correct on the rate to maintain same level of maintenance and operations? Because if our last year's rate was 73 cents,
Yes.
it doesn't make sense that the no new revenue tax rate would be higher, especially if our values went up by $114 million.
We'll get it. I know every month or so, the people from Region 13, this comes from one of our templates that we get from
Yeah,
them.
and so I've ran into that a whole bunch of districts
okay.
down here. The calculation by the county wasn't done correctly.
Okay.
So we could just,
We'll
and
double
again,
check it.
we could approve it, but authorize the superintendent to make sure that whatever the statutory language required in the resolution to add it after the fact, but let's just check that, because, I mean, does it make sense? Last year was 73 cents. The no new revenue should be lower than that, not higher.
No problem.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? No? We're good? Okay. Thank you. Any comments from the public or questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Robledo, once
Thank
again.
you.
And we'll move on to item number 4, which is public comments, and we don't have any. So that takes us over to adjournment. Okay, it is 5:48 PM. And we are adjourned for the public hearing. So now we'll move on to the regular board meeting. All right, so this is the regular board meeting. It's being conducted in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. The time is now 5:48 PM, and I'll call this meeting to order. I'll now begin the roll call. Trustee Rodriguez. Trustee Cuellar.
Present.
Trustee Castillo.
Present.
Trustee Trevino. Trustee Nieto.
Present.
Trustee De Los Santos.
Present.
Okay, let it reflect that we do have a quorum. So now we'll move on to item number 3, the invocation with Mr. Elias Trevino.
Would you be so kind to bow your heads and let us pray? Heavenly Father, our Lord Jesus Christ, how great and mighty you are. We honor and magnify your holy name. God, in all situations, at all time, you are good. Nothing compares to you, and there is no one like you. You are worthy of all the glory, honor, and praise simply because you are. You are constantly powerful, kind, loving, just, merciful, and all-knowing. We are humbled that we get to know who you are. We thank you for the blessing of gathering once again as a corporate body and the privilege to serve this most beautiful and thriving community of Weslaco. Father, as is always our petition, we ask you to continue to bless and grant greater wisdom to our superintendent, Dr. Richard Rivera, and our board. We ask you for their health and well-being always. Lord, may your will be done in our board meetings. Help us to maintain integrity in what you have left in our care. As we come to the end of our first 6 weeks, we thank you for the victories in every school, in every classroom. We thank you for the moments of difficulty as it reminds us to stay near you. For without you, we are nothing. Above all, bless our students with divine protection, physical and mental health, and providence. Guard their hearts and minds. There is gratitude in our hearts for all that you have done, are doing, and will do in the days to come. Greater days are coming. We ask you all this in your precious, glorious, and mighty name of Jesus. And everyone says, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Now we'll move on to item number 4, the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge with Mr. Buttimer.
Good evening. Would everyone please stand, place their right hand over their heart, and face the United States flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing, right hand over your heart, and face the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Buttimer. On to number 5, the proclamations for October 2024. And I have them right here. The binder is falling. So Weslaco ISD has a long-standing tradition of excellence and strives to bring together all resources to provide our students and staff with the best opportunities for success. To that end, Weslaco ISD acknowledges and celebrates initiatives, departments, and organizations that join in our efforts to develop, expand, and enrich our learning environment for students, parents, and employees. Therefore, I, Jacqueline Sustaita, President of the Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees, do hereby proclaim October 2024 as Dyslexia Awareness Month. And we also proclaim in October School Custodian Appreciation Day, October 2, 2024. We also have the Texas Education Human Resource Day. That is October 12, 2024. And Red Ribbon Week is October 23 to 31, 2024. Weslaco ISD urges all citizens to recognize with appreciation our district's commitment to education and helping our children achieve their highest potential. So in official recognition whereof, I'll sign my name here, and if anybody is here from the custodian department or HR or anybody having to do with Red Ribbon Week, if you can stand and we'll give you a round of applause to thank you for everything you do. Thank you very much. All right, so we'll move on to item number 6, public comments. There are none, okay. Item number 7 is the superintendent's report.
Yes. I have 17 slides. Let me start with page 2. This is the average daily attendance, and our budget is set on 14,500, and we're funded on this amount. So the ADA after the 5th week of school is 14,781, so at a plus 281. So if we continue, it's early, but if we continue with this right now, we're at about $2.4 million additional monies if we continue with this amount. And again, the budget is set at 14.5. Right now, we're above 281. Good job to our staff and to our principals. The next page is the enrollment. The enrollment comparing last year around the same time. Last year, we were 16,227. On September 3rd, trying to compare 16,230 at a plus 3. So even though it's a little plus 3, it's steady, and most districts are losing enrollment, and our goal here is to continue with the growth and not a decrease. So every 6 weeks, I will show you the new amounts. On page 4, these are our schools and the enrollment comparing last year to this year. On Sam Houston, it's enrollment comparing as a plus 5. Silva, a plus 84, big growth there. Gonzales, a minus 48. Margot, a plus 33. Airport, a minus 4. Memorial, one of the big enrollments last year at a minus 21. Northbridge, a plus 23. Rico, a minus 31. Kleckler held a minus 40. Ibarra, a plus 14. Mary Hogue, a minus 84. Cuellar Middle School, a plus 69. They were low last year. Good increase. Central was high last year. It's a minus 15 right now as of this time. B. Garza, a minus 30. And our new Career and College Development Center, there's 29, but actually right now there's almost near 40. So that's good. South Palm Gardens, a plus 11. East, a minus 22. Weslaco High, a plus 37. So right now, we feel good. We're not overcrowded at any of our campuses. On the next page, this is the tax rate. Mr. Robledo mentioned this one. This is the M&O and the INS, the total tax in 23, 24, and for 25. And you can see for 23, the tax rate for every $100 worth of value, it was 0.9593. Last year, it was 94.64. And again, we anticipated a penny increase. It was actually less, a 94.81. So you can see that the 94.81 is lower than 23. I mean, we're among the lowest tax rates in Region 1, and the tax rate is based on a successful $160 million bond election, and districts not passing these bonds would have lower taxes. Mr. Nieto mentioned on page 6, he mentioned where we stand. These are the 24 tax rates. Edinburgh, Los Fresnos, and Harlingen, they are lower than we are, but they have not passed bond elections. We are at 0.9464, and then you can see Sherry Land, McAllen, $1, PHA, $1.183, Brownsville, 103, La Jolla, 103, San Benito, 105, Donna, 107, Mercedes, 109, Mission, 111, Edcouch, 113. So you can see, even though we passed the bond election, we are still among the lowest tax rates in Region 1. And these are the large school districts. These are not the small ones. On page 7, this is human resources. Our goal is to become better than last year. And on A, we have approximately 1,100 employees that require certification. On B, I asked for a review to make sure that we were certified in all the areas, and it was conducted. It was not all successful, but I will show you the A, B, C, D, and E. So in A, we identified in elementary teachers in PE, art, music, in 5th grade who lack a grade level certification outside of the current certification. So there are about 15 teachers that have been identified in elementary. And these teachers, right now, they're certified. We asked for a permit for them. But in the end, in May, these individuals will need to go out there and make sure they're fully certified. Otherwise, we'll have to go ahead and change their assignments. But right now, again, there are about 15 teachers in PE, art, music, in 5th grade who lack a grade level outside of the current certification. Since we started this, I want to make sure we're consistent. So now we're looking on B, on bilingual, to make sure we are certified. And then we're doing the secondary schools next. I just want to make sure that every teacher in our district is properly certified in the right place. Again, HR placed them in permits. And again, failure to obtain the proper certification will result in a reassignment for next year. Again, we're trying to become better on C. The documents have been updated, and the principals can easily access to all the campuses to make sure that they're properly certified. A problem that surfaced when I became superintendent, the interim and later superintendent, was there was a connection, and not a connection properly between HR and payroll. So we're addressing this to make sure that the workflow automation process to reduce errors, increase efficiency, and improve collaboration. And again, this is a better correlation for us to become better, and every year we want to become better at what we do.
Can I
Yes,
ask a question
yes,
before I forget
yes,
later on?
yes.
On E, failure to obtain appropriate certification and reassignment.
Yes.
Are staff members being notified
Yes.
in writing? So
Yes.
that way they understand that at the end of the year, if they don't pass their test or they don't get certified, are they having to sign for it to make sure that they understand that at the end of the year, if they're not certified, then they'll be reassigned?
Exactly.
Depending.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they're aware. And again, I just wanted to be transparent and make sure that every teacher is in the right place, certified.
Dr. David, I have a question for A, the people who have the 5th grade. Is this because, I know when I was going to
Yes.
school, it was pre-K through 4 certification, and that's what I have. But then you're in the elementary, so you can move to 5th. Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Okay, that's what I thought,
That's
with the
what it
5th
is.
grade.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
But again, we're working on it, and I can assure you that come May, every single person will be appropriately certified.
Sounds good.
Our kids deserve the best.
Plus, those permits are only good for a year,
Yes,
correct?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, and then on finance, business and finance, again, we want to become better. And again, I mentioned the trying to get HR and finance together on the same page, and we're working on this with new upgrades to speed up the processing for better efficiency. We want to make sure that whenever anyone is paid, everything is, so we don't have mistakes and everyone is paid correctly. And that's the goal that we have, just to become better from last year. On B, we updated the manuals and the website, and we're constantly working on the interest. And I think Mr. Robelo mentioned this on the interest on the bond election. For this year, we expect around $7 million. Even though the government has gone, they reduced the interest as far as less than we earn for our dollars, and a fund balance about $4 million on the monies that we have. So approximately this year, we will earn $11.4 million on the interest rates, and we're going to monitor these more often. Instead of we're going to do it monthly instead of every 6 weeks or quarterly. So that's, again, we're doing this, to improve business and finance. On page 9, this is the first, and I want to commend the business department because they received a preliminary, would be superior, of 100 points. We attained 100 points. This is superior achievement. Weslaco was only one of 9 Region 1 districts that achieved a superior rating, a perfect score. And Region 1 has 38 districts. Again, I want to commend their department, the business department. They worked very hard to make sure that we get the superior rating. We'll have the public hearing in October, and then go ahead and officially go over all the indicators that are there and show the community the actual 100 points that we attained.
That's worth a clap.
Yes. On page 10, safety and security. Again, we want to become better than last year. We want to make sure our kids are safe. And we'll start with, on A, we're going to continue with the audits. And we want to make sure that the intruder detection exterior door audit will continue. On B, House Bill 3, we're in compliance because every single school has an armed officer at every campus. And we're trying to get maybe even 2 for every campus. We also have the city of Weslaco with the police officers. We have 8. So the security, we feel very good. We feel Mr. Reina is working very well with the city and the districts to make sure that the kids are safe. We want our kids safe when they come to school in the morning, at school during the day, and then when they leave. On C, we still have the Raptor system. When visitors that come from the outside, there's a system where they alert us if any concerns that we have. So we'll continue with the Raptor. On D, we'll continue with the armed guards training. On E, very important to me, I come down hard on the principals that we don't want to have fights on campus. Fights have occurred since I was in school, many, many years ago. Fights will continue, but the key here is to reduce it by less and not have these vicious fights that take place. Because now, as you all know, everything is recorded and it comes out on social media. So, again, right now we're working very hard, and we have less at this time than we had last year. These are monitored every week. The principals are aware how many fights we have. But again, the goal is to reduce the fights to make sure our kids are safe. And those kids that fight, I can tell you, I'm hard-nosed, I'm old school, and there's severe consequences for those that fight. Severe consequences. We tolerate no fights, and those fights, again, we take action quickly. The last one, this is everywhere, G. The threats. These are everywhere, and some have happened. We take any threat, any call that we get, we inform our citizens, our parents. Those on social media, we take it seriously, and as per our policy, there will be severe consequences for anyone that we catch making these threats. And again, we live in different times. I can assure that our schools are safe, and they will continue being safe, but every threat is taken seriously. In fact, I had one just recently that I informed the board about, so I keep the board also informed of every threat that occurs.
Dr. Rivera, I
Yes.
had a question on that slide.
Yes.
So when we're talking about school violence threats and what the district's doing to address that, systems like Senegex, like those emergency response systems that teachers, administrators, and everyone, different staff can wear on campus. Senegex is like, and there are different companies, but a lot of districts are implementing those on campus. It'll give people real-time locations actually on the campus. A teacher can hit a button. I know because the district I work at, they have it. So if it's a medical emergency, you click so many times. If it's a fight, you can click so many times. If it's something maybe like an active individual on the campus that shouldn't be an immediate threat that you need to contact law enforcement, there's certain clicks you do as well too. And so you don't have to call the administration. You don't have to, there's training for that. And it's for quick response. And depending on the situation, they'll be able to identify where you are on campus, where the issues are, and it just alerts everyone automatically that something's going on, whether it's medical, a fight, or something like that, where you have like an intruder or somebody on campus. And I know we have surplus funds, and I think that's like that's the prime time to start investing in those type of safety measures.
Mr. Danny's looking into this already.
You got that? You're working on that?
Yes.
Oh,
other schools were using it.
Yes.
And, the one that used it, Red Farm also was what the kids have in Georgia. Right now, we have the Raptor also has an alert system.
Okay.
Teachers can download it to their Chromebooks or their laptops or their phones if they want to.
Okay.
And they can alert administration.
Okay.
But we have that system in place this last year.
Okay.
I heard,
For the panic alerts
It's not a card, but it's actually their phone.
on their phone, okay. Yeah, this one, I know we're required to wear it around our neck, so you have it along with your ID cards and whatnot.
I'm looking at that system.
Okay.
and I agree with Trustee Los Santos. I heard that all the directors of safety and security have a group chat around the valley now where you guys are kind of sharing information. You're right, that's what happened in Georgia. They had that system, so they were able to push that button and pinpoint exactly where the threat was.
Right.
And like Dr. Rivera said, these are different times.
Yes.
And I think that I share the same sentiment with Trustee De Los Santos that we should put resources into this.
Cost and everything. In fact, I had put it out there because they also give you a mapping program for your school. And that will work law enforcement or exactly the things that happen.
Yeah, well, speaking for myself, right, an I statement, Lone Star governance coaches here. I don't want us to, if something terrible like that were to happen here, I don't want us thinking, what if we could have done this, we could have done that, right? So whatever we could do, and to have our parents trust us with their kiddos. I mean, I have kids in school, and every morning I say a prayer, right? It's just crazy times that say a prayer for my kids to stay safe. So I just want to make sure that we're putting enough resources into safety, and I'm sure we are, but more, going above and beyond on the resources when it comes to safety and security for our students and staff.
And we are above and beyond.
And you all do a great job on it too. I want to say that even recently with the issues we had, I mean, I have children at elementary, middle school, and high school, right? So I'm going through all three phases at the same time. But I saw the responses on the campus. You see the PD, Weslaco PD is already on site. You see all the security on high alert. You see administrations out there doing what they got to do to secure things. So you do an excellent job. I've never picked up my child, even when you guys have put out the alerts, because I trust you all 100%. I know the system works and what you have. But like I said, that'd be great to look into to see if we can get that system.
Right now, we have another alert system just for security guards that we alert them if something happens in the neighborhood or somewhere else.
Oh, nice.
These are all part of that alert.
For lockdowns.
It just goes to them. It goes to, I know we shared it with some of the administrators also.
Great job, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Just to share a little story today. Now that I'm teaching again and I'm in first grade, I'm in a first grade classroom, I had never experienced a lockdown drill. So we did that today, and I was a little scared even though I knew it was practice, but all the kids had to, run to the corner, turn off the lights, lock the door. It was something new for me. And some of my kids, their stomachs started hurting afterwards, and they were real scared. And I know it's just a practice, but like they said, I have kids at Weslaco Elementary, Middle School, High School, and every morning that I drop them off, I feel like they're safe. I know that they're going to be taken care of. And now being in the classroom, I know how teachers, they're your babies. They're going to protect them no matter what. So I just want to thank everybody in the schools, because I know the feeling of having to be responsible for all these little kids, and it's a huge responsibility, and just so thank you very much to everybody.
We also do those lockdowns here, we use the practice skills for the lockdowns. We bring in what's the PD, what's the party department.
That's good to know. And I never thought about the kids being, I did, but not really until I see it firsthand, where they actually get sick and their stomachs start hurting or their heads hurt because they go through the fear. But so I hope that, we have something to talk with them about, social emotional things that we can talk to them about when that happens. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, on page 11, the fund balance. Very powerful slide here. The fund balance that we shared on A, we have $63 million, but we have a 3-month reserve, as Mr. David Robledo mentioned, and that's $43 million. So that is there, we don't touch. That's only for emergencies. It's required by TA at 3 months, and we have that. So after that, if you subtract that, we had $20 million in September to go ahead and use on one-time expenses, things that we needed, and we did that. So of the 20 million, you can see 1 through 11. We've done the stadium LED light upgrades, working on the sensory rooms. We've got 3 school buses, including the activity buses. Number 4, maintenance vehicles. We have portable AC units Hopefully we have to use them, but if anything breaks down, we've got these to keep our classrooms cool. We're doing the turf, baseball and softball turf in both schools. We're looking at the electric gates. There was 8 on the tents and the hydration system. Some furniture, additional cost for the HVAC, about $5 million. And then on the agenda tonight, we have the Panther Wildcat Field new turf replacement for $1 million. So of the $20 million, we are going to spend 16.5 million. But the powerful slide again is that on D, we have new monies coming in to our fund balance. And we did this again through different things that we did. Reduction of payroll costs by hiring new staff to replace the retiring staff. We had monies remaining from the 2024 budget, some proceeds from the property value audit, and the interest earned. So even though we spend 16 million on good projects, we're bringing back an additional 14 million now. So now, from the 20 million, we spend 16, but we still have 17 million to spend on other projects as we go throughout the year. So again, I want to commend our staff, everyone involved. We inherited a budget deficit of 60 million. We did that, came up with good pay raises for our staff. No one lost their job. So in addition to that, we came up with good projects that are needed throughout the district. On page 12, we received the two activity buses today. In fact, they're being used today. I think Weslaco East volleyball, Weslaco High volleyball, they're using the buses. And we got 2. We should get 2 more, and by October. So as we study this, we might even increase it for the following year. But these are activity buses that are second to no one, and we're going to utilize these for district-wide for academics and athletics.
And I wanted to,
I was just gonna say, I met with 2 different superintendents today, and they both brought this up, and they had pictures of the buses already. They showed them to, they
were
me.
going around quick.
Yeah, they showed them to me. I was like, oh, nice, they're in. But yeah, you're making people jealous out there, Doc.
And Dr. Rivera, I wanted to highlight, I do sometimes go to, we have a few social media platforms here in Weslaco. I don't comment on them, but I do go because it's a great survey to see what people are saying, and like Weslaco discussion group and things like that. And one of these was on there, right? The pictures were on there. There was a lot of people that are very supportive, very happy that the kids are getting these additional resources. But I saw common questions like FAQs and like in something like this, and there was questions as far as like you just mentioned it right now. Is this just for a certain sport, or is this for all sports and things like that? And really to clarify to people too, because they were kind of interested about the funding. And what's good is people are paying attention because those people on there responding that, hey, yeah, we're doing very well and we do have funds. And I just wanted to really highlight that and talk about that today, that this is being purchased with funding that we have that's surplus, that's been saved, it's in the general fund, that's been put aside. This is all being spent, responsibly. There's a plan that you have in place, right? And then like you just mentioned right now, we have interest income coming in, additional from the bond, and that these are for all students, correct? All students in sports and things like that.
Academics and athletics.
Academics and athletics, okay, yeah. All right, great. I just wanted to kind of put that out there, so.
Yes.
And you mentioned that we purchased 2 and we're going to purchase
2
some-
more.
2 more?
2 more coming. So we'll have 4.
What is the passenger size on those?
About 50, almost 60.
It's like a regular bus, right?
Yeah,
About 6?
51 on these.
yeah,
How many?
51.
These are 51. And
Okay.
I believe the others that are coming in are just
46.
46. Yeah.
This is your high-end luxury, and the other ones are still very luxury. Those are the flat face. Those should be coming late October, early November.
And I saw a question on there, but I just want to put it out there too, because I had the same thing too. I saw somebody asking, I was like, oh, that's a good question. Does it carry equipment? Like, is there cargo
Yes,
space?
on the bottom,
On the
yes.
very bottom.
All right, great.
All right.
So when we go to the playoffs this
Yes.
year to state, we'll have them ready for,
Yes.
Great job.
Okay.
awesome.
On page 13, technology. Again, we want to become better than last year. The future is now. We can't go back to the manual typewriters anymore. The future, and it's going to get more and more. So we have to make changes or fall behind. Technology is very important to all of us. On A, the cybersecurity, we've added the CrowdStrike identity to stop breaches faster by protecting the workforce identities. the financial management system, upgrading from Alio to Link for more modules and feature efficiency. We have more security cameras district-wide, 150. We have the new trend now is artificial intelligence. We're not falling behind on that one. And then the Power B1, that we have these dashboards to show data from different sources through visualizations for PIMS and accountability and technology. We're adding hotspots for all the campuses, and we want to make sure again that our students, when they leave Weslaco ISD, whatever college they go, they're not behind anyone. Technology is not, the future's here, it's not going away, and we need to go ahead and stay with it. We're not going to fall behind on technology. On page 14, self-funded health insurance. We finished the year with claims RX fixed cost total. So the funding was $20,180,000. The policy ended 20 million for it. We spent 20 million, so we were in the red 300,000. So we're going to have to use some fund balance to cover that. The funding for the new year is going to be almost $22 million. And again, this is a self-funded. Had we gone fully funded, it would be a lot more than 20 million. So again, we monitor this carefully. Want to make sure our staff is properly covered with their health insurance.
Doc, just a quick comment on this one. The RX claims are the ones that are killing, or is the portion of the self-funded health
Yes.
program that's killing districts all over.
Yes.
And so I don't know what we could do to be a little bit more creative with respect to getting our prescriptions for our employees, but what we're doing is we need to adapt, and that's for everybody. That's just not a Weslaco ISD problem, but.
You're correct. Dr. Cantu, any comment on this?
As far as with the RX,
Yes, sir.
we do see an increase. We have about 5 or 6 employees that are on some very heavy medications, and that's really the bulk of that increase. So we are looking at options, like you said, trying to adapt. There are some things that we're looking at, including international sourcing.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that because some districts are looking at that because it's a lot
We're
cheaper.
looking at it also.
Awesome.
So it's something that we try to roll into our mail prescriptions.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Dr. Cantu, does the stop loss cover for pharmacy also?
Yes, sir.
It's for pharmacy also? Okay, not just medical claims?
Correct.
Thank you.
On page 15, the self-funded workers' comp.
Yeah.
The number of claims in '23 and '24, we had less claims. We're working with staff on staff development to ensure they don't get hurt. There is a fund balance of $205,000. We budgeted $481,000, and the plan ends in June. On page 11, again, becoming better at what we do. Curriculum and instruction. We found out that on A, on our data here, 36%, the responses scored a 0. That means the kids they just didn't do anything on it, so we're working on that to improve that one. I mentioned to you about hiring consultants to help us in the campus in needs of academic improvement. There's an expanded role of the instructional coaches to include more than what they did last year. We have a pre-K3 new curriculum in the classrooms. On E, the kinder classes are participating in the personalized blended learning program designed to enhance literacy outcomes and meet House Bill 3 goals. Curriculum guides have been revised. The teacher incentive allowance program data will be submitted in October, and hopefully everything goes okay. We'll expect to go ahead and hopefully be funded with this one this coming school year. The last one, our goal, here's our goal. Your goal, my goal, everyone's goal is for this school year, is for all campuses to improve a letter rating and not to be identified as an additional targeted support campus. That's the goal that we have.
Dr. Rivera's question. On A, what particular grade level or grade levels was there short constructive responses? Was it low?
I think it was throughout all campuses.
All
Ms.
levels?
Solano?
Yes, it was throughout all levels. So we studied all third grade all the way to English 2. I know Mr. Castillo had brought it up in one of the last board meetings that other districts were studying right, and possibly submitting for rescoring. We did have an in-depth review with our RLA coordinators, and Mr. John Garlick at the CNI department had a training with principals and teachers, but it's all grade levels,
All grade
encompassing all.
Okay, thank you.
Doctor, on this one, kind of like the same with safety and security, I mean, whatever resources that we need to provide to the campuses that need those resources, I mean, I don't think the board will ever say no to that. But yeah, we did a good job last year, but talking about inputs and outputs and outcomes, whatever inputs you need from the board at the board level, I mean, know that you could always come to us and ask for it, because, we want our students to be successful.
Thank you.
And I can really say, being in a rural district right now and comparing to Weslaco, I mean, we are way above and beyond a lot of other districts. We have a lot of things that a lot of districts don't have. So it makes me proud to be from Weslaco and that we offer whatever we can to the classrooms, because I've seen myself firsthand that we really do offer great curriculum and resources for our kids.
Our goal is to become better. Every year become better. And the next slide, under Purple Star Awards, I'm happy to report that the schools that are listed, they were recognized by committing for the needs of military-connected students and their families. And these were from Weslaco, but many from Region 1. I want to recognize and acknowledge AA Rico, Airport, Collector Hill, Raul Gonzalez, Memorial, North Bridge, Mario Ibarra, Sam Houston, B. Garza, Central, Mary Hogue, South Palms, Weslaco East, and Weslaco High. Great job to these schools and all the people involved, from Dr. Sid and all the different ones that got involved with this. And great job to the principals, everyone, teachers, everyone involved. And our last slide, this is the Lone Star Governance. This is the monthly academic report on A, Goal Progress Measures 5.3. And the goal was to increase the percentage of students earning an associate degree from 5% to 7% by August. And you can see it's 8%, it's 9%. But again, our goal is to become higher for the associate degrees. And on B, 40% of our students earn college credit through AP and dual enrollment. So they don't come out all with associate degree, but many leave high school with already college hours, about 40%. On C, the constraints measures, update on the Lone Star Governance Framework, to send weekly board updates, to conduct the LG refreshers as needed, and to share all board information items in a timely manner. So again, good job to our board for being involved with this. And this is my report. This last item here will lead to the next agenda item on Lone Star.
Hey, Doc,
Any other questions?
Can we go to the slide previous to this one real quick?
Yes, Lone Star?
No,
Purple Star?
Purple
Okay.
Star. Just want to
Yes.
clap for those principals, like, that's. Thank you all for providing that extra support for those kiddos. I came to one of those events a couple of months ago, and it's just beautiful, supporting those kiddos and seeing what they go through, because their parents are out serving for our benefit. And so thank you for you guys going the extra mile for them. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you. This is my report.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rivera, and thank you to all the staff also. We have item 8, Lone Star Governance, that is Mrs. Beatriz Solano. And it's 8A, discussion on the Lone Star Governance Board monitoring calendar for September 2024.
So at this time, if there are any questions on the last slide from the superintendent's report, that will always lead us to question and answers on this section.
Was there a time when we're going to review that goal to increase it?
Yes, most definitely. So one of the things that we did last spring semester with both high schools and Dr. Sid's departments, the counseling department, right? And aside, I think we met about a week or 2 weeks ago on this is, are we on target or projected? I know our next target for 2025 is to increase by 1%, which is 8%. So what we did, if you remember back in the spring, Dr. Rivera, through one of the updates, informed that we added an early college high school counselor to each of the high schools. Thus, the freshman class cohort is a lot larger than our current 10th, 11th, and 12th cohort.
Awesome.
So, yes, we are looking at projected to.
Approximately, you know?
So approximately, for example, at Weslaco ISD, like in our freshman class, we have 120 students participating, en route, right? Versus, for example, like the 10th grade class, 67. So that early college high school counselor really helped. So on behalf of the principals, the high schools, right, in our schools, thank you all so much for approving that.
One more question. On the AP courses, do we pay for the AP test as a district for the kids?
Yes.
Awesome.
That I'm aware of, yes, right? For the AP test, yes.
Awesome. Thank you all for that. I know AP is also very beneficial. I mean, I'm kind of thinking back when I was in high
Correct.
school, that helped me prepare for the SAT and ACT, just based on that coursework. So that's also something that we
Yes.
should focus on as well.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments? These percentages look good. They're increasing, so. Nothing else to add?
This was the only slide, or we have more?
Right, no, this is the only slide. It's covering the goal progress measure, the academic report, to include our progress towards the Lone Star Governance Framework, which will lead us then to the evaluation for the board.
Oh,
And just wondering, now that I'm thinking about this, the new recovery program that we have for a high school diploma, we won't be offering any type of associate's degree for those kids that are in that dropout recovery program. It's just your high school diploma and that's it, right?
So at this point, because it's a starting program this year, our goal is to get them graduated. However, we are looking at providing technical courses as well and these types of opportunities in the future.
How many
Yes.
people are in that cohort? How many people do you have?
29, you said, on here, or 40?
I think about 38 at the
Right.
last count.
There's 38?
Yes, AM and PM combined.
Oh, so
Yes.
it's cut between the day, half
Right.
day?
And how do we
Okay.
get funding for them?
It's the 4-hour day.
So we
Do
do
we have
draw
flex schedule?
full, based on the way that the schedule is set, we do draw full ADA for those
Okay,
students.
they're weighted like that, okay.
Right.
And we're going
So
into
that-
26-year-olds.
That pays for the program.
Okay, that'll cover all.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry, up to age 26, correct.
To age 26.
And there will be eventually opportunities for those students to earn certifications.
awesome.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be like ex-Weslaco students. It can be anybody who comes over to Weslaco to get their high school diploma.
We are trying to work through serving our students here locally in our community. But again, if there are opportunities for those in the Mid-Valley, we are. But again, we are really trying to service our own community.
Okay.
And I visit every week, and those kids are on task. They're mature young men, young ladies, and they're on task.
That was a nice
Got a
little
second
video y'all
chance.
put out. It was a real nice video of highlighting that program. Before I forget, can we schedule maybe an ABC course, ABCs of Lone Star Governance for the board candidates? I know we had talked about it at the last meeting.
Yes. I think I sent the board.
Yeah, he
Yeah, there's an
An update.
email, there's an update.
Yeah, we're gonna have one.
Okay,
Working with Mr. Cinto to get the date for that event.
awesome.
All right. If there are no further comments or questions, we will move on.
Can we, I think we have to approve it, right?
Oh, that's right. Let me go
On
back to my
9A?
agenda. I don't know where that's here.
What is it, 8B? 8B.
Make a motion to approve the LSD report?
Okay.
Second.
All right. We'll go ahead and take it to a vote to approve 8B, discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to consider approval of the Lone Star Governance Board monitoring calendar for September 2024. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. We'll move on to item 9, the presentation, 9A, presentation by Purdue Brandon Fielder Collins and Mott LLP on the delinquent tax collection report by July 1, 2023 to June 30, 2024.
Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Rivera, and honorable members of the board. My name is Iran Gutierrez. I'm the managing partner of Purdue Brandon's Valley office, and I'm here to present you with your delinquent tax collection and audit appeal services for fiscal 23-24. That being July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. The collection program for Weslaco ISD is designed with an emphasis on working with your delinquent taxpayers to help them resolve their delinquent tax problem. To that end, our local call center has handled over 13,000 phone contacts, delinquent taxes owed to your district. We have also mailed over 9,900 letters of delinquency to your taxpayers, and we have updated addresses on over 1,500 accounts. When the letters and the phones don't have the desired effect, we also try to contact the taxpayer at their home, or if it's a business, at their place of business. During this period, we have conducted 441 field inspections. And once we contact your taxpayers, they're not always able to pay in full, so we enter into informal and formal payment agreements. During this period, we entered into 100 formal payment agreements involving over $171,000 owed to the district. We try to avoid litigation when all possible, but when we have to, we do enter into litigation. During this period, we filed 196 petitions and interventions involving over $1,398,000 in base tax owed to Weslaco ISD. On businesses, there's another tool that we can use, which is tax warrants. During this period, we filed 17 tax warrants involving over $26,000 in base tax owed to Weslaco ISD. We also represent you in federal court in bankruptcies. During this period, we filed 18 claims for Weslaco ISD involving over $11,452 owed to the district. Once we take a judgment, we can proceed to tax sale. We still try to work with your taxpayers, try to see if we can collect. However, they don't come forward and pay their taxes. We do put properties up for tax sale. During this period, we put up 29 properties up for tax sale. 13 of those properties were sold, bringing in over $154,000 to Weslaco ISD. 15 of those properties were pulled because either they entered into a payment agreement or they paid in full, involving over $78,000 owed to Weslaco ISD. One property was struck off, that is, no winning bid was received, so the property now, in a sense, becomes the property of the school district and all the other entities, and it can be resold at some later point. Of course, all our efforts are geared to one goal, and that is to collect your delinquent taxes. During this period, we've collected $1,197,000 in base tax, and an additional $555,000 in penalties and interest, for a grand total of $1,752,000. To put in perspective, that was 30.46% of your delinquent tax levy that was collected this year. This graph here is a comparison of last fiscal year with this fiscal year. Last fiscal year, base tax collected were $1,047,000. This year, $1,197,000, or a 14.3% increase in dollars collected this fiscal year compared to last fiscal year. We also represent you in the audit and appeals. This services assure that you get the maximum amount of state aid that Weslaco ISD deserves. We filed an audit for 2019. This is the second audit we do for the 2019 tax year. You actually get 3 look-backs. So in essence, you can file 3 audits if necessary for each tax year. This is the second one we do for 2019. We brought in an additional $85,822 in state aid. We also filed an audit, the first audit for the 2022 tax year, and we're estimating that that's going to bring you approximately $1,040,000 in additional state aid. We also filed a second audit for 2020, and that's still being reviewed. We don't have an estimated figure at this point. Well, that concludes my presentation for the fiscal year collection report. If you have any questions, I'd like to entertain them at this point.
Any questions or comments?
No, good job, and of course, working with all our tax collectors, and, very good.
Thank you, Mr. Nieto. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good evening.
No family was lost their homes, had to move out? No families?
No, Dr. Rivera, no homesteads were sold.
Okay.
None of those 29 properties that were put up for sale were homesteads.
Great.
All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Rivera.
Thank you.
Dr. Rivera, back to the item 8A, the leadership evaluations, the Board of Trustees self-evaluation. We skipped over that. So can we go back to 8 and go over the self-evaluation for the board? How do we do that? Legal or anyone advise me? Do we have to state something? Does a motion have to be made or anything like that? Okay. So then we have, every quarter we have the board self-evaluation that we have to do for Lone Star governance. And I do have the scores that we came up with about 3 months ago. Was it 3 months already? Wow. So let me get those out here, if I can find them. I know I saw it somewhere. Where did it go? I saw it somewhere. Here it is. Okay, so this date was March 21, November 16. So the last time that we met to do our self-evaluation, it was March 21, 2024. And so for the vision and goals, 1, where the board has adopted student outcome goals, we were at 12. So if we go back to 12 on vision and goals 1, the board has adopted student outcome goals. I'm going to go back to 12 and see if you guys think we're still there or we've moved on. Is everybody there?
What page are we on?
We are on page 22 of the participant manual.
Second tab.
Yes, I'm going back to item 8. A1, the last bullet is leadership evaluations, Board of Trustees, self-evaluation.
And then the item after that is the adoption of the board monitoring calendar as well, which we skipped it.
Okay. So everybody's on page 22 of the participant manual? Vision
This thing
one?
gonna help us or no?
Right there you go, right there. So on 12, meets focus, the board meets focus if all prior conditions in the following are true. All board members and the superintendent agree that the student outcome goals, number 1, will challenge the organization, require adult behavior change, are influenceable by the superintendent, and are the superintendent's first priority for resource allocation. Do we all agree on that? We've been doing good on student outcome goals?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And then we meet focus if the board relied on a root cause analysis, comprehensive student needs assessment, or a similar research-based tool to inform the identification and prioritization of all student outcome goals, which we use like NWEA and other assessments to create a baseline and see where we're moving, right? So I think we've done that pretty well.
Do we call Cinto up to help us or?
Yeah, do you want to come up here and help us, Coach? We're on our own. Okay. All right.
Well, then what are you doing here?
He's observing us.
I'm just kidding.
Letting us learn. Then we'll move over to 15, Master's Focus. The board masters focus if all prior conditions and the following are true. All board members and the superintendent have committed the vision and student outcome goals to memory. I'll stop right there.
The percent of third grade students.
Who has committed the vision statement, the student outcome goals to memory? I've tried, but those numbers, I have them all mixed up in my head. I don't think we've done that, right?
So 12.
We're still at 12 for sure. Okay, so we'll stop there. We're at a 12 for that right now. Right here. I don't want to write them. Do you have the, thank you, I'm borrowing yours. Oh, it's over here. Okay, now we'll move on to vision and goals 2. The board has adopted goal progress measures, GPMs, aligned to each student outcome goal. Last quarter, we were at 12, so we'll start there. We meet the focus if all is true. All board members and the superintendent agree that the goal progress measures, which are known as GPMs, will challenge the organization. We all agree? Yes. Require adult behavior change? Yes, goal behavior. Are influenceable by the superintendent? Yes. And are all predictive of the respective student outcome goals? Yes. And master's focus if all board members and the superintendent agree there is broad community ownership of the GPMs through involvement and communication with students, staff, and community members. I've gone to several schools and talked to kids and stuff about our Lone Star governance and community, but I don't know if it's just, more of a together as a group.
I think we got to get a little more organized on that one.
At least we're, at least half of us are part of it, then I think we can be able to be on the mastery level.
Okay,
So
so
they-
half of us can commit to doing something like that.
Yes,
I know you and I went one time, but it was
Correct.
just two of us.
right.
But we can plan on more. Okay, so we'll see at 12 there.
And more to the ones that have the time. Now, I know you don't have the time anymore, but, yeah,
I'll make time.
okay,
Sometime.
okay.
Okay, so we'll see you at 12 there. And in Vision Goal 3, the board has adopted constraints. Last time, we were at a number 9, at 9 points here, so we'll start there. The board meets focus if all the conditions are true. The board has adopted 1 to 5 board self-constraints. We have adopted that. The board, where appropriate, relied on a root cause analysis, comprehensive student needs assessment, or similar research-based tool to inform the identification and prioritization of superintendent constraints. Yes, we have done that for. All board members and the superintendent agree that the constraints will challenge the organization to focus on the vision and uphold community values.
I think so.
Okay. So we go to 10, master's focus. If all are true, the board, in collaboration with the superintendent, has adopted 1 or more theories of action to drive overall strategic direction, and we do have our theories of action.
Hey, Doc, I couldn't find that one online, the theories of action.
We wrote it together in our, when we did our training, but it's not online.
Okay, we'll go back and review that.
Oh, thanks.
And then all board members and the superintendent agree there is broad community ownership of the constraints through involvement and communication. And we said we have to work on that more. So we'll stay at a 9 here. Vision and goals 4. The board has adopted superintendent constrained progress measures. Last time we were at a 4 here, so we'll start at 4. We meet focus if all is true. All board members and the superintendent agree that the superintendent CPMs will challenge the organization to focus on the vision. Yes. Will challenge the organization to uphold community values. Yes. Are all predictive of their respective constraint. Yes. Are influenceable by the superintendent. Yes. So number 5, masters, all board members and the superintendent agree there is broad community ownership. Back to the same thing about community ownership. So we'll stay at a 4 here again. We really have to work on that community involvement, getting out there to get these points higher. And then progress and accountability 1. The board invests at least half of its time to improving student outcomes. Last time we were at a 0 here. So I'll start again there, I guess. Does not meet focus. The board does not have, well, no, I won't start there because we do. Preparing to focus 1. The superintendent owned the monitoring calendar development, working with the board to adopt a calendar that monitors student outcome goals. No more than 2 student outcome goals per month. The calendar spans the length of the student outcome goals, and the board tracks its time in public meetings. We do all this with the help of our coach. So we do get 1 point there.
Right.
So we'll move over to 4. The board approaches focus if all of this is true. 10% or more of the total quarterly minutes in board authorized public meetings were invested in improving student outcomes according to the time use tracker. Coach, can you help us out with this one?
I think we're close on that one.
10%, it says here, for approaches.
Correct. So in coding your board meetings for June, you didn't have a meeting in July, and in coding your board meetings for August. In August, you spent 8% of your time monitoring student outcomes, and in August, you spent 15% of your time monitoring student outcomes.
So it averages out to 13.
Not a mathematician, I think we're over 10.
You probably met that one, but that's
10.
probably the furthest you're going to get along for
Yes.
this quarter.
Okay, so we're at approaches.
Yes.
It's improvement, yeah. Thank you, Coach. So we get 4 points there for progress and accountability 1, and we really have to just track our minutes better and focus on student outcomes a lot more. So progress and accountability 2, last time here we were at 0, so I'll start with 1. If the board, it says the board evaluates but does not interfere with progress toward improving student outcomes, I'll start with 1, preparing to focus. If the following is true, the board has performed a self-evaluation within the previous 12 months. Yes, we have, using this TEA assessment. Performed a superintendent annual evaluation no more than 15 months ago. Yes, we did. Been provided copies of the superintendent's implementation plan that includes the campus goals to make progress towards the student outcome goals. And yes, we have those. Actually, in this board meeting, we have the campus improvement plans. Correct. And then not voted to approve the superintendent's implementation plan unless required by law, which that's what we're doing. We're just voting on it because it's required by law. So we do get 1 point there. We'll move on to 2, approaches focus. If the following are true, the board performs self-evaluations using the LSG integrity instrument. And this is the LSG integrity instrument, okay? We performed a self-evaluation no more than 45 days prior to the most recent superintendent's evaluation. We did it in March, was our last evaluation, and so yes, we meet it there. We evaluate the superintendent in part on the results and progress toward the student outcome goals and constraints using information within monitoring reports. Yes, we did. We did do that. So we'll move on to 4, meets focus. The board receives at least annually a report on the average cost of staff time spent on governance using the staff use tracker.
We haven't done that yet.
No, we haven't done that, no. Okay, so 2 points there.
Improvement.
That's good, yeah, we went from 0 to 2. And then systems and processes, last time we were at a 12 here, so we'll start at 14. We're master's focus if the following is true. Board authorized public meetings in the last quarter did not exceed an average of 3 meetings per month. We have not. An average of 2 hours per meeting. I think I read pretty fast through the meetings that we can.
I think we're close to that, right? I don't.
Okay.
We have it.
Okay, so we're good with that?
Yes.
And then an average of 3 other topics per meeting? Ooh.
I don't know what that means.
Where is it?
3 other topics.
We did not exceed 3 other topics per meeting.
You've exceeded more than 3 topics per meeting. So that's, whether it's action items, whether it's superintendent reports, all of those are coded for you. So you have a series of them where you've exceeded 3. So yes.
Yeah. So we stay at 12 here.
Yes.
And in order to be recognized as the LSG on the leaderboard for TEA, we really want to get these points, we need to think about our topics on our agendas. All right, so then we'll move on, we'll see it at 12 there. And then we go now to advocacy and engagement.
I have a quick question on that. Does that include things that are not on consent? I mean, that are on consent, or that's only not on consent?
That's what's not on consent. The idea is to be able to move student outcomes conversations to the forefront of your agendas. And then what's on the back end is going to be things that are going to be up for discussions. And
So we have 3 topics.
Yep.
All right.
Three's the ideal, because then it's what we call the potential for whirlwinds to come in to your boardroom.
Got it. Makes
So,
sense.
so the goals are to have the majority of items on consent,
Yes.
correct? So that way we only have 3 topics on the regular agenda.
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
correct. And that's the reason why your process of getting the packet as you have been ahead of time, asking questions, meeting with the superintendent, to get those things sorted out ahead of time, is so that you can then come in and focus the majority, or at least 50% of your time monitoring student achievement.
I think within the last 3 months, a lot of our items have been on like construction and
Yes.
approving stuff. So those things, if we're gonna delegate them to the administration, can be put into consent where we don't have to talk about them and.
That would be ideal. And the reason being, because you can have the conversation with superintendent. If you don't get your questions answered, and/or the superintendent, Dr.
them
DeVera, you
out.
pick up a sense that the majority of the board wants to have a conversation about it, then absolutely.
And
The
just-
thing is to find a balance
Right.
between focusing on student outcomes and then focusing on other. And the other is completely appropriate, right? It's when you find an imbalance that you catch yourself more on the other, and then student achievement falls, because as we discussed in the training, student outcomes tends to be on the back burner. And with this framework, it's actually designed to keep it at the forefront of the mind.
So say like we have multiple items on construction. Is that one topic, even though there's multiple items, or it's an agenda item as each topic?
Its agenda item of each one is going to be considered another.
But, like I said, we try to be as transparent as possible, right? And Dr. Rivera has an excellent process in place where there's a lot of documentation. I know we spent a lot of time on August 1st, talking about things, but realistically, we had all the packets, all the information prior to. And he did reach out to us and tell us, if you need to come in and meet with me directly, meet with a medical guy, meet with et cetera, whoever you need to ask questions, you can do it at that time.
Yes, sir.
So I don't want to eliminate, to get a score, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want to eliminate transparency, discussion, and discussing very important topics. So we haven't had a bond in 2 decades almost, I think, because the community was, I guess, not confident to, enough to give the school district the bond at the time. So we have one of the largest bonds at this time in the South Texas, right, in our region. And I do want to make sure that we are transparent and we are showing the community, that we're following through in the documentation, the processes in place, and that we're getting them the best value and for the best service and the best product. Right, and so I think that that's kind of where I probably am gonna come in, and I have to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And say that I don't wanna take that completely away, or be worried about minutes, and then start dissecting
Yeah.
my responsibilities,
Yeah.
to the community.
I'll start here, right? My question and wondering would be, are there other ways for transparency to,
I was thinking workshops.
Yeah.
We could do a workshop where we have
Workshops
open
count against
discussion.
minutes, though.
well, when you have a quorum, the minutes count.
Yeah.
And now, I guess,
Oh, even in workshops, it kind of against you? If
as
you're,
long as if you have a quorum, yes.
Oh.
Because remember in the governance training, and I know it's been a while, which is why I'm
Right.
excited that we're gonna have a refresher soon, that it's easy for a board to lose its focus.
right,
And the idea of the governance framework is to find a balance to that. So I know that oftentimes when we say 50%, sometimes that's misinterpreted as the majority of the time. We're just saying being mindful. And this is the reason why when I share the data with you as to what your months have looked like, you've had peak periods where you've had a lot of minutes and your focus was very narrow. You were asking questions about student achievement. And the idea and the reason that I'm glad that you're going through this tonight is you're making the connections to the community. It's that the role that you have and the opportunity that you have is that you get so laser focused in asking questions about inputs and outputs that you can then turn around and go to your community at large and educate them outside of the boardroom. You can go to the Rotary meeting. You can go to the events in the comunidad, right? Talk to the everyday person in your community to tell them, oiga, señora, right? We were student achievement here, and you've got a lot to celebrate, right? And I've picked up a theme in your boardroom, and not that your themes are wrong. It's just to say that the encouragement is to find a balance.
right. And I think with the discussion items, realistically, it shouldn't be us doing any talking anyways. It's really just a superintendent describing his process, describing the, some of the achievements he's made, kind of like that last project.
Yeah.
Could have been 19, 20 million, he got it down to 11.5. And those are great things to let our community know. So it's not really us talking, it's mostly, I want him just to have the opportunity to highlight what him and his administration and his staff is doing. And so it shouldn't take too long anyways.
Yeah, and then again, right, my wondering is, are there other ways for that transparency to
To
happen?
answer that question,
Board book, I mean, the reason why I felt like I wanted to get board book was because you can put all that information online, so whoever goes online can go and read through the PDF, so we don't have to discuss it up here. It's already there for transparency for the public.
Well,
Yeah,
here's a suggestion that I have.
Go ahead.
Doc, maybe as part of your superintendent report, you could give us a construction update.
Right.
And let us know that these items, and you've done this before, right? You did it with the turf, that it's in the consent agenda.
Right.
But you give an update on those items and what the administration's recommending to do. And if the board's okay with it, we don't remove it from consent agenda. But if we have questions, then we can remove it from consent agenda, but it's part of your superintendent report.
Right.
With
Right.
that,
I just don't want to give the appearance that we're sneaking it into consent and not being transparent and not talking about the topic.
Yeah, and that's why when we have a workshop and we review the data together, as far as like where your time, energy is being spent,
Right.
it's an opportunity for self-awareness, right? My role is, I don't want to tell you what to do, I just want to give you the framework, and then you all come to the consensus of what you believe is appropriate. And as you remember, the theme, it's not just a mantra, it's that student outcomes don't change until
Right.
adult behaviors change. Meaning that the behaviors that you as a collective team demonstrate and model, right? It begins with your agenda. Where do student outcomes fit on your agenda? Is it in the beginning, in the middle, or the back? How much time do you spend asking questions and monitoring? It's not about the minutes as much as it is about the quality of the depth of understanding, so that when you do go to the community, you don't need Dr. Rivera there to add more to his plate or their plate. It's that you as board members are so aware, and that's the reason why we're asking you to memorize your goals.
Right.
Because you also want to be able to tell your community where you're at. So they should be able to ask you at some point in that community meeting, oiga, pues then where are we at? If you were at 40-something%, did we move? Did we go up or did we go down?
And I think when I think about it, I don't want to end up in a situation where you just have someone firing off questions to add time. Like you said, quality versus quantity, right? And that's where the administration as well too, the curriculum department has to come in with some detailed reports as well too. Because I know we already talk about some data sets, but maybe we can start talking about the reading, there's a reading crisis, right, going on. What are we doing there? I mean, we can incorporate a lot of different issues other than just the GPMs, but like what are we doing for reading and math at the foundational levels? What type of resources are we talking about? What type of things are we missing? Where can we invest that money in that infrastructure? Like those are the things that I want to kind of get into rather than seeing the GPMs here, and here, and then just popping off questions to get points.
Well, if I can, that's why we made the board monitoring calendar, and we ourselves are responsible for those goal progress measures, right? And
Right.
our coach did tell us, he gave us a whole stack of how to ask strategic, effective questions. I want each of you to have 3 questions every time we do this Lone Star progress monitoring. And I'm going to speak for myself. I'm going to make an I statement.
Okay.
I've come up with my 3 questions,
Right.
and I've kind of that conversation, but I don't know if all of us have really delved into looking at the data and what are my what, when, how, why questions. How is this working? How are we going to implement it? And I would like to see more of that, because if it's not just me coming up with the questions, but all of us coming up with 3 questions, that's going to create more discussion for these progress measures, where we can have more minutes to actually, and they are strategic, effective questions. They're not just throwing out. You actually have to study the data, look through the strategic questions. So we could all do our part and do that. That would add to our minutes of our student outcome goals.
Let me frame it this way. The minutes will come.
Right.
And my shortcoming has been this, right? That I have not had the opportunity yet, have not chosen to make the opportunity with each of you to do progress monitoring one-on-one sessions. And the way that looks is that I'm going to ask you to watch 1 or 2 other board meetings from around the country and around the state, and you'll get to see it in action. And you'll see how the type of questions and the type of responses and how rich the conversation becomes monitoring student achievement. It's similar to what we had when we had a workshop in here. We were having a lot of fun digging into the data and the conversation, the dialogue that took place. This teamwork doesn't happen artificially. It happens by having genuine, authentic conversation with your superintendent and the leadership team. So my commitment, and Trustee Castillo, you asked a great question, then what am I here for, is that I do not want to leave tonight without having scheduled something with each of you to connect, to be able to show you, right? To show you what that looks like. Because I know that for me, an I statement too, was that it was hard for me to imagine what good progress monitoring could look like. And I did feel like I was checking boxes. My goal is to not have this feel like you're checking boxes, and to be able to see the depth of the quality of, because that is your superpower that I mentioned to you. I'm not going to tell you what you can't do. I'm going to tell you what you can do, right? Remember that? What you can do is you can take deeper dives into your data, have good quality conversation. The minutes will naturally come.
Right.
And what happens is, the last one I'll share with you, it becomes parallel processing. As you as the board and the superintendent team function, you create the space for the rest of the organization to do the same. And so because you do have a very high-quality board, leadership team, everything from your budget to your outcomes, right? You all are working at a really high capacity. What I would submit to you is this idea that there's still a higher level you could go to. And so that's part of the goal.
And you know, that CivMe, you were coaching me with that CivMe app, and you made me, and I had to look at other boards across the nation, and we learned so much from Phoenix, Arizona, and you know, different places. You really do learn a lot from seeing other boards and just how they interact and how they talk.
Right.
So it was really helpful, definitely. So if we could all do that, that would be awesome.
That's the plan for tonight.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we were on, let's see, I lost, did I lose it? Where were we? We were on advocacy and engagement. And we said that last time here we were at a 0. So let me go back to 1. The board has a 2-way communication system in place where the board members at least once per year listen for and discuss the vision and values of their students.
Where does 0?
I think we're still at 0 because we don't have something where we listen to our students. We used to, do you guys still have, like, what is that committee where the students come from several schools? Not the, it's some like student advisory committee. Do we still do that? We don't do that anymore? Was it like after COVID that we stopped or something?
Yes, that's what it was stopped.
Yes.
Okay, do you think that would be a good idea if they ever meet for the board to come and listen to them at the same, because that's what they meet here for, don't they? To come in
For different topics.
for different, and it's not just for the board, it's because they
Right.
come together as a district.
Correct.
There's other programs that require committees, sometimes adult committees, parent committees, and mix and stuff. So they probably have one that they need to have student inputs. So, yeah, maybe at the usually it's federal programs, and maybe I don't know what else would probably get them together, but.
That's probably a committee that we, Dr. Rivera, we can follow up and
Right.
form a committee from students from each campus, you know, and then have different topics, but let us know, so those that if we have the time to attend, then we can attend and talk to them.
Right.
Yeah, we can do that.
We
Okay.
go to them, not them come to us, like,
Correct.
like our coach said.
Correct.
We will go to talk to them.
Yes.
Okay, so then we're still at a 0 here, but that's a plan to have that done for, and the next time we evaluate would be in 3 months. So whoever's here, whether we're here or not here, whatever happens, in 3 months, maybe that can be set up. Okay, so that is 4-0 on advocacy and engagement still. And then the last one, synergy and teamwork. I feel like I'm doing leader in me right now saying that, synergy and teamwork. Synergy and teamwork, the board works collaboratively and with the superintendent to lead toward the vision. Last time here, we were at a 9, so I'm going to go to master's focus. Let's see if we get that. We master all the, we're at a master's focus if the board members and the superintendent have completed the Lone Star Governance Workshop. Ben, have you finished? Have you gone?
Yeah.
To one?
I've sat on a whole bunch of them, actually, but as a lawyer.
Doesn't count.
Why
Does
not?
it?
I
Coach,
listen.
does that count? Oh, okay, so he has attended?
Yeah.
All right, good job, I didn't know that. Because I kept thinking that you had to go, I don't know, okay. So then the next one, agree that all board members have adhered to all adopted board constraints during the previous 3 months?
I think we're okay.
I'm gonna say no to that one.
No, that's a no.
That's a no to that one.
No.
So 9. Okay, so if somebody can add these up for me, I have the totals right here.
The one about all
took my
board
sheet.
have
Oh, sorry.
adhered to the board
Let me see,
constraints.
if I don't have a calculator. Does somebody have a calculator? Last time, it was a 58 for the last quarter.
We went up 6 points, so 64.
64? Did you do that in your head?
Well, we went up 6 points, so.
Okay.
64?
All right.
Okay, so
Bachelor of Science right there.
we improved by
6.
6 points. Okay, so then we'll all sign, we can sign it. We'll all sign this and then we'll vote on it, correct? Okay. So go ahead and pass it this way. And we'll re-vote again, since we're all signing it. Okay, so let me get my board agenda back over here. We're taking a vote again because we're going to approve the board self-evaluation. So do I have a motion for 8B again? To approve the board self-evaluation?
Motion to approve?
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in not in favor, okay.
All in favor, say
Okay,
aye.
motion passes. All right,
Now we did the monitoring calendar.
the monitoring, we have to do it again? We already approved the board monitoring calendar.
We did?
Yeah,
Oh.
right?
We did it already?
We did. It was already in here. Okay, we'll move on to we did 9, so we'll move on to item 10, the consent items. We've all had some time to look at this. If there are any items to pull out, I will call you one by one to see if you have any. Dr. Rodriguez?
I have none.
Coach Cuellar?
None.
Trustee Castillo?
None.
Trustee Trevino?
None.
Trustee Nieto?
None.
Trustee De Los Santos?
Done.
Okay, so then, do I have a motion to approve all the consent items?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll move on to item 11, discussion items. We have 11A, update on trainings, conferences, events, and consider future agenda item requests by the Board of Trustees.
There's 3 grievances coming up. I will poll the board as to when you want to meet to hear them. It'll be either October, November, or December.
Okay,
To be continued.
all right. Any comments, questions? Anything else? Okay. We'll move on to 11A1, the Superintendent of Schools. 11A1A, approval of a date to you just said that, right, Doctor?
Yes.
Okay, so 11B, we'll do 11A1B, discussion on nominating candidates to serve on the Hidalgo County Appraisal District Board of Directors for the 25-27 and approval of resolution for nomination. I believe I have that here.
Make a motion for J.C. Olivares. That's his name, right? Our current income?
Joe Olivares?
Joe Olivares.
Second B.
Okay. All right, so we will be nominating Mr. Joe Olivares for the District Board of Directors, and I think votes go out in October, I believe? Yes. Okay, so we'll go ahead, we don't have to take a vote on this, right?
Yes, we do.
Oh, because it's not under discussion and possible action.
It's okay.
Okay. So let's go ahead and, do you have a motion for this?
Yes.
Our motion.
Motion, and he did, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. And we move on to item 12, discussion and possible action items. 12A, Business and Finance Department. Mr. Robledo, it's 12A1. Discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to consider approval of a resolution adopting a 24-25 total tax rate of 0.9481 on each $100 of assessed taxable property value with a maintenance and operations M&O tax rate of 0.7291 and an interest and sinking INS tax rate of 0.2190.
Madam Board President, I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.9481, which is effectively a 12.55% increase in the tax rate. Now, the reason why we have to say that language is because the legislature requires us to say that language. However, the tax rate was increased by less than a penny. However, because the appraisal district has increased the values of property, that's where that calculation comes from. It's not based on the last year's tax rate, it's based on the no new revenue tax rate.
Okay.
So I make that motion with the caveat that we make sure that our resolution is correct with the M&O no new revenue tax rate.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Second.
Okay, second. We'll go ahead and take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. 12B, Maintenance and Operations Department. 12B1, discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to consider approval of a procurement method of construction for the Aquatic Center LED lighting upgrades project as follows. And we have 3 items here. It's for number 1, for the Board of Trustees, determination of a procurement method of construction that will provide the best value to the Weslaco ISD district for the project. And number 2, the Board of Trustees' determination to retain the authority to rank the proposals to be received for this project, or the Board of Trustees' delegation of their authority to the administration to rank the proposals to be received. And number 3, approval of criteria and points to be used for ranking the proposals. Do I have a motion for all 3?
Recommend competitive seal proposals?
Okay.
I make a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation with respect to item number 1 on the procurement method for competitive seal proposals, to delegate the authority to the administration to rank the proposals and to approve the criteria recommended by the superintendent on the ranking of the proposals.
Okay, we'll go ahead and any board questions, comments? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. 12B. 12B2, discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to consider approval of the administration's recommendation of a firm to provide engineering services for the Aquatic Center LED lighting upgrades project and to authorize the administration to enter into a contract with the approved firm. So then
We are recommending Sigma, Mr. Miracle. And the engineer is on your list.
So your
And the ones-
recommendation, Sigma, for the LED
Yes.
lighting?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation.
Do I have a second? Okay, so the recommendation by the superintendent is Sigma. We motion by Mr. Castillo and a second by Mr. Trevino. Are there any questions or comments?
What did you say? So Sigma is the engineers for the project, correct?
Yes.
Do you have any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll move on to 12B3. Discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to consider approval of a procurement method of construction for the district-wide fencing project as follows. 1, Board of Trustees determination of a procurement method of construction. And then 2, Board of Trustees determination to retain the authority or to give administration delegation the authority. And 3, the approval of criteria points.
It's from the SAFE grant, and we're recommending sealed proposals.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I just have a quick question. What's the scope, Doc? It says district-wide, but is it every campus in the district?
Mr. Denny, you want to answer that one?
So, good evening, members of the board, Dr. Rivera. So yes, this is part of the SAFE grant, and is to upgrade all perimeter fencing that we have that is still not compliant with the safety regulations that the state is mandating. And that is to make sure that the fencing is either 8 foot high, which is primarily chain link in this case. We do have some fencing that we want to upgrade at the stadium, and that we're allowed to do also wrought iron type of fencing. So again, primarily this is chain link fencing that is not compliant with that. It's currently at 6 foot high, and we're gonna increase it to 8 feet. So there's quite a few campuses involved. I can't say for sure that it's every single campus, it is most of the district.
Okay, so the motion was made?
I haven't made a motion.
No, yeah. Oh, no.
Anybody else?
No.
Because he asked to comment and we didn't have a motion. So do I have a motion for 12B3, 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah, I move to go seal bid proposal and for delegation of authority to the administration to rank the proposals and utilize the criteria points to be used for the ranking of the proposals.
Okay. Any other questions or comments before we go for a vote?
Are we doing anything there at Weslaco East with the chain link fence? Are we looking to upgrade at any point?
I can't say that we have anything in this project. And again, so there may be sections in some campuses where it's 6 feet, and we have to make sure that it goes up to 8 feet. And where there are sections of fencing, even if it's 8 feet, that requires to be replaced or repaired, then we're just using the project funds to get that addressed. But at this point, I can't say we have anything at East High School that requires those upgrades.
And if we don't, we'll do it.
Correct, correct. Yeah, we'll make sure we do that.
I'll second Mr. Nieto's motion.
Okay. East is not there, yeah. Yeah. No, we don't have anything on the list for East High School. And again, so there's
The fence there is probably at about 6 feet tall from what I recall. I don't think it's at 8 feet. Plus, it's our second high school here, and we still have chain link fence. I mean, it's an eyesore, really. We got weeds and things growing all behind all the fence line around.
Is that on the street?
I don't know if we could even do the entrances or something, make it look presentable, but it's not.
We can certainly put it.
We'll take a look at it.
Yes, sir. Yes, we'll
Let's
look
meet
at it.
tomorrow on it and let's come up with some figures.
Thank you, Doctor.
We can do that.
Even if it's local money, it's not with the grant, we'll take a look at it.
Yes, sir.
Want to make sure our kids are safe.
Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
we'll do it.
All right. Thanks for bringing that up, Coach Trevino. All right, so the motion was made and we had a second, so we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. If you're in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. And we move on to item 12B4. Discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to approve the administration's ranking recommendation of the proposals received for the replacement of the district's fuel station tanks, project CSP number 25-09-09, and to authorize the administration to negotiate and approve the contract.
There was a loan vendor. This was Jose Rivas from SWG, recommending that firm.
So move to approve.
Second.
I'll second it.
Go ahead and take it to a vote. Are there any questions and comments before I take it to a vote? No? Okay, go ahead. Please say aye if you're in favor.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. 12B5, discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to consider approval of a procurement method of construction for the synthetic turf replacement project at Bobby Lackey Stadium as follows. 1, for procurement method of construction. Number 2, for the determination to retain the authority as a board or to give delegation of the authority to the administration. And 3, the approval of criteria and points.
Recommend sealed proposals.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the sealed bid proposals and delegate their authority to the administration and to approve the criteria and points to be used in the rankings.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? We'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Say aye if you're in favor.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. 12B6, discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to consider approval of the administration's recommendation of a firm to provide engineering services for the synthetic turf replacement project at Bobby Lackey Stadium and to authorize the administration to enter into a contract with the approved firm.
Mr. Merkel?
Yes, so we are recommending, and we're looking at the firms that have been approved by the board who provide civil engineering services, who are the firms that will do this type of projects. And we're going down the list. If you look at the agenda item, there's a table there with a list of firms who are civil engineering firms, and we asked them for their experience with these projects. And the next one that we have there, it's Javier Hinojosa Engineering, who's got experience with this type of project. That's the firm we're recommending.
Who's doing the east one right now? Or
That's
the
Half Associates.
Half Associates?
They're doing East High School, the tracks, the tennis courts, and the turf for the baseball and softball fields
The softball fields here at Weslaco High as well?
as well, yes.
Why not just go with them since we're already having them? I mean, they're already in place. We already see the job that they're doing.
We can, Mr. Trevino. The reason we selected the next firm down is because of the scope of work that they've got already. So we figured that we try to make sure not overload them.
Okay.
However, but it's at the board's discretion to select whoever they
Yeah,
want.
we need the project to start right after graduation.
Yes, sir.
I have a question that I would like to ask legal in executive session on this one. I have a question on a reference. I don't know if I'm mixing up 10 or 11, but I want to ask in closed session to make sure we're good.
So do you want to table it and come back to it?
Yes, if it's okay, we could table it till after executive session so I could ask my legal question to our district council.
Okay. Medical, who are you recommending? It's number 10 or 11?
10.
10. Javier Hinojosa.
Yes.
Okay, so do I have a motion? Do you want to rescind? the-
No, not rescind,
Or
just
what?
motion to table until after executive.
Okay, do I have to take a vote for that?
Yes.
Okay. Second. Okay, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote to table this. Please say aye if you vote yes.
All right.
Okay, motion passes. We'll come back to this after closed session, 12B, let me note there. That takes us to item 13, closed meeting to discuss. 13A, personnel matters, Texas Government Code 551.07 4. 13A1, Human Resource Department. 13A1A, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation or certified personnel and non-contractual personnel. 13A1B, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation on resignations, retirements of the certified professional and non-contractual personnel. 13B, consultation with attorney regarding B1, pending or contemplated litigation. B2, settlement offer, or B3, matter in which the duty of the attorney of the Weslaco Independent School District under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code 551.07. It is 7:18 p.m. and we will meet in closed session. It is 7:47 PM and we have reconvened an open meeting. 14A.
Let's go back to 14.
Oh, that's right, okay. So we have tabled item 12B, the Maintenance and Operations Department, and now we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. And that item was on, is it 12, which one was it?
12B6.
12B6, 3, 4, let me find it. Here it is, yeah. It was 12B6, discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to consider approval of the administration's recommendation of a firm to provide engineering services for the synthetic turf replacement project at Bobby Lackey Stadium and to authorize the administration to enter into a contract with the approved firm.
I move to accept the superintendent's recommendation pending a reference check.
Second.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Please say aye if you agree.
Aye.
Or say yes. Okay, motion passes. Now we will move on to item 14A, possible action if necessary on items discussed in closed meeting. 14A1, discussion and possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation on employment or certified personnel and non-contractual personnel. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Please say aye if you agree.
Aye.
Approve. Thank you. 14A1 passes. 14A2, discussion and possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation on resignations, retirements of certified professional and non-contractual personnel. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Please say aye if you agree.
Aye. Aye.
All right, motion passes. That takes us to 14A3, adjournment. Oh, before I say that, Dr. Rodriguez joined the meeting at 6:17.
That was about 5:50.
5:50, okay.
Oh, I have the times here, Mr. Buttermore.
Okay, good, because I didn't see.
Dr. Jaime at 5:50.
Okay.
And Mr. Jesse Trevino at 6:34.
Okay, sounds good. Just
Thank you,
to be on the
Mr.
record. And adjournment, did somebody say so move? I don't remember. Okay, it is now 7:49 and we are adjourned.